Hey, what's up, everybody? It's GleeCon, and I am here again bringing you another episode of Lore of Warcraft. And as always, I thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to do something a little bit different today. I've been foreshadowing it for a while. We're going to start covering the movie Warcraft. So, rather than having a sit and watch, which is, well, as my mixed received short lore and short video shows, when I talk more than the actual thing that we're watching, it gets mixed reviews. So I don't think that would be enjoyable for me to just watch the movie, pause, talk over it. And while I think there might be some value in that, it also you can get into some copyright infringement problems with the watches. So if you want to watch the Warcraft movie, I suggest go for it. I've seen it; it's been a while, but we're gonna see if we can get inside the vision of the movie by reading the screenplay after this is over, and this will probably take us a few days. It's a 138-page screenplay, so we're not going to finish it in this one episode, but it'll probably read fast. I think it'll probably still take us somewhere a few days to a week to read. When we're done with it, we're also going to read the novelization. So this is going to be kind of like a study. You could watch the movie as well in your own time and spend a couple hours on that and see how does it compare when you read the screenplay, and then how does it compare to the book that we're going to read coming up soon too. If you're interested in the playthroughs of everything World of Warcraft related, we have been doing a long playthrough everything in the game. We are about to do a Sunken Temple run. Probably going to do that in a couple days on Horde. We've already cleared Sunken Temple completely on Alliance, and we set up that Horde run on the last episode with a shaman. So we're going to begin Warcraft screenplay by Gary Whitta. Stay a while and listen. I looked this guy up. He is a screenwriter, and he notably wrote on Star Wars Rogue One and some other novelization of a or movie version of a game. He's also written Book of Eli. I guess he was on that too. So he's written some screenplays or been part of it. This is based on Blizzard Interactive's game franchise, and it was written in February 12th, 2009. We look at the cosmos. We are moving through an immense star field, staggering in its scope and depth, passing by strange and unfamiliar planets. This universe, as alien to us as it is serenely hypnotic. Work on that, art team. The voice we hear is female, dignified and soothing. It's Jaina Proudmoore voiceover. At the beginning, the immortal Titans created the cosmos, seeding it with light and with life, bringing order to chaos. Does anybody else maybe picture what's her name? Oh gosh, I can picture this actress as like an older, middle-aged, dignified, blonde British actress. Makes sense for Jaina. We are aware of a strange energy moving with us among the planets and stars, like a shadow, dark ribbons of energy, unlike any cosmic phenomenon we recognize. Jaina's voiceover. But even among immortals, there is discord. The great Titan champion Sargeras, once charged with protecting the worlds they had created from the powers of darkness, fell from grace and was cast out from their pantheon, left to wander the great dark, alone. As we follow the ribbons of energy, they begin to take on darkly malevolent shapes, almost as though sentient, alive. Embittered and vengeful, Sargeras vowed to destroy all that the Titans had created. He marshaled the very forces that he had once fought against to create the Burning Legion, a vast army of the demonic, the infernal, the corrupt. The ribbons of energy pass by vibrant, life-filled planets, and as they do so, the planets become discolored and dark as though a wave of corruption is passing over them. The Legion traveled to world after world, spreading their corruption, turning peace into war, love into hate, order back into chaos. The oppositional forces. We move ahead of the ribbon's path to find a new world, one as yet untouched by the Legion's corruption, moving closer into the planet's orbit, a dark, featureless sphere. Only one world remains unclaimed by the Legion, one crafted by the hands of the Titans themselves, their most ancient and precious jewel, and Sargeras's final, most coveted prize. So right there, we know that the film version is deviating from the real version because it's not the only world. The sun rises over the horizon, bathing the planet in light, revealing vast oceans and continents teeming with life. Azeroth. As we move over the world, we get a sense of its geography. 3 continents, separated by an ocean with a whirling maelstrom at its center. On one side, the eastern kingdoms, to the west, the great landmass of Kalimdor, and to the north, the frozen wastes of Northrend. We move closer, passing over the eastern kingdoms, soaring over great snow-capped mountain ranges and lush forests. As we pass through swirling clouds, we are blinded by a glimpse of the rising sun beyond, and as the light dissipates, the clash of steel, sword against sword. The sun now blazing high overhead, 2 warriors square off against one another on a dusty, barren battlefield. One is a Tauren, a mighty humanoid with cloven hooves and horned bovine features. The other a troll, tall, muscular, and blue, skinned with fearsome tusks and a shock of fiery red hair. The Tauren and troll fight with a sword and shield, parrying and lunging in a brutal battle to the death. Evenly matched, but after a furious flurry of blows, the Tauren wounds the troll, who staggers backward, dropping his sword. The Tauren capitalizes on the opening, charging the troll and knocking him to the ground defenseless. The great horned beast stands over his helpless opponent, raises his sword, and plunges it through the troll's chest. He pulls out the bloody sword, raises it aloft, and emits a bellowing war cry. Joined now by the roar of a tumultuous crowd, as we angle up to reveal that this is not a battlefield, but a vast coliseum. Thousands of spectators cheering wildly. This is the cinematic version of Gurabashi Arena. We move over the crowd, an eclectic mishmash of Azeroth's many exotic races, humans, dwarves, goblins, gnomes, and many more, all crowded into the amphitheater's cheap seats. So this is also a little bit different. Yes, Gurabashi Arena exists, but here it is this melting pot arena. Goblin vendors move along the aisles selling exotic snacks.
Peanuts! Get your peanuts! Salted Murloc eyes, 10 copper a bag!
Above the cheap seats are tiers of VIP private balconies, the best seats in the house. One such box adorned with royal blue standards emblazoned with a golden lion's head, what we will come to recognize as the insignia of the Alliance. 2 senior military officers in full dress regalia are ushered into the box. One is Admiral Dalen Proudmoore, human, late 50s, gray-haired, tall and distinguished. The other is a stocky, grizzled dwarf sporting a bright orange beard. As they settle into their luxurious seats, an attractive human waitress delivers a tray of foaming beers. I'm guessing Stormpike is the dwarf?
I'll say this for the Alliance. Membership has its privileges.
He takes a beer and chugs it down in one pull, wipes the foam from his beard, and delivers a hearty burp. He leafs through a program, the cover of which reads, Gurabashi Arena, 1 day only. Direct from Kalimdor. Legendary human champion Logosh battling Eastern Kingdom's champion Targor the Dread. Admission, adults 5 gold, children and gnomes $2.50. Fun for all the family, 2 drink minimum.
So do you reckon he's real, this lad?
We'll find out soon enough. Do you?
A human champion of all Kalimdor? Nah, it's a stunt. Something to bring in the crowds. They probably painted an orc pink.
Stormpike continues paging through the program, stops at a crude illustration of a fearsome-looking human gladiator. The caption reads, Logosh, the Orc Slayer.
Logosh?
That's what the orcs call him. It means ghost wolf. The only human they've ever deemed worthy of an orcish name. Proudmoore looks down at the arena floor. A pair of giant ogres are fighting against a pack of humanoid hyena gnolls. Well, I think he's real, all right. And I think he's going to be exactly what we need. The battle below comes to an end, the chattering, sharp-toothed gnolls victorious. As the bodies of the dead ogres are hauled away, the arena master of ceremonies walks to the center of the arena, and a hush falls over the crowd.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, what you've all been waiting for. the main event. Many of you have heard the stories of a feral human child found by a tribe of orcs in the wilds of darkest Kalimdor, raised by them as one of their own, taught to live like them, fight like them. Yes, a human man, but with the savage heart of an orc.
You could hear a pin drop in the arena right now.
Many of you believed he was but a legend, but he is real, and now he is here for the first time in the Eastern Kingdoms. And so, without further ado, I give you the undisputed champion of Diamol and all Kalimdor, the Ghost Wolf, Logosh.
I don't know if that's in the games at all. This Logosh guy. The crowd goes insane as the heavy wooden doors to the arena floor grind slowly open. Everyone on their feet, straining to peer inside, as from the darkness within he emerges. Logosh, stripped to the waist, his sun-burnished body ripped with muscles, straggly, matted hair obscuring his features, but we see that his face is daubed with crude war paint. He walks out to the center of the arena. There's a feral, animalistic quality to the way he moves. But unlike the gladiators who preceded him, Logosh does not play to the crowd, nor even acknowledges them. The roaring of the crowd dies down. This isn't quite what they expected.
And who better to challenge him than the Eastern Kingdom's very own champion? Once the most feared of the orcs' dreaded Blackrock clan, bane of the Alliance during the bloody First and Second Wars, leader of the infamous Stormwind Stockade riots, undefeated in 59 battles to the death, I give you Targor the Dread.
Yes, that is a boss from Stockades. Also, all of these events happen after Warcraft 2? What the heck? The gates at the other end of the arena creak open. A mixed chorus of cheers and boos erupts from the crowd as Targor emerges, a towering muscular orc with obsidian black skin, yellowing tusks, and burning savage eyes. He's led out by 4 human handlers using metal poles hooked to an iron collar around his neck, corralled like a dangerous beast. Targor's handlers unhook their poles and retreat hurriedly back inside the arena doors. Targor steps up to Logosh and looks him up and down with a contemptuous grunt. The giant orc is easily twice the human's size and weight. To look at them, it is simply no contest.
Bloody hell, he's gonna get murdered.
Proudmoore says nothing, just watches rapt. Weapons are tossed into the arena before the 2 combatants, a battle axe, a sword, and a couple of battered shields. Targor looks around the arena, soaking in the sights and sounds of the crowd, then glances murderously at Logosh.
God, fuck gul chular kil zokra shaklatar.
Which means, enjoy this moment, human, it will be among your last. Logosh responds in Orcish, speaking it like a native. Gruldar mostakafik. If only you fight a whole lot better than you smell. Interesting. And that means we know this guy is at least as strong as like a level 30-ish dungeon boss. Beat. Targor, a little thrown to hear this human speaking Orcish so fluently, he picks up the axe and a shield. Logosh does not move. He seems almost meditative in his stillness. Targor hefts the axe and, lumbering forward, swings it at Logosh. Logosh springs into action, tumbling out of the axe's path and grabbing up the weapons on the ground before him. All in one single, incredibly agile, fluid movement that draws a collective gasp from the crowd. Targor turns to face Logosh with an annoyed grunt. The orc comes at him again, a powerful sideswipe that Logosh deflects with his shield, almost knocking him off his feet. Targor rains down blows that take all of Logosh's strength to deflect. His shield buckles under the relentless barrage. Up in the Alliance box, Stormpike checks his pocket watch.
This is what we came all this way to see. Come on, believe now we can beat the traffic.
But Proudmoore doesn't take his eyes off Logosh, watching intently, as though waiting for something he knows will come. It's not over yet. And as we go back to the arena floor, we see that each heavy lumbering swing of Targor's axe is taking more and more out of him. And still this irritating little human will not go down. The orc puffs and pants, short on breath. As Logosh deflects yet another blow, we catch a glimpse of his eyes behind the matted hair and the war paint. Sharp and laser-focused. Cunning. The eyes of a predator. And then comes the opening he's been waiting for. As the tired Targor makes another big swing, he overreaches, dropping his shield for a fraction of a moment, but it's enough. Logosh lunges at Targor, summoning energy he had merely been conserving. Slashing the orc's unprotected chest with his sword, Targor roars with pain as he staggers backward. The audience is on its feet, watching in amazement as Logosh presses the attack, wailing at Targor with a furious savagery that almost seems more orc-like than human. Targor fights back desperately, but Logosh is just too fast, feinting with incredible speed and agility to avoid every blow, then countering with another withering attack. Targor finally manages to break free, and the two fighters separate. Circling each other, Targor is wounded and bleeding. Exhausted, Logosh hasn't even broken a sweat. Enraged, Targor summons his remaining energy and rushes Logosh, whirling his axe, bringing it down with a roar, as Logosh slides between Targor's legs, rolling back to his feet behind him. Targor's axe buries in the earth where Logosh was just a split second ago. He blinks, confused, and then his eyes widen in shock. A sudden sharp intake of breath, the crowd looks on in silent astonishment. A rivulet of blood trickles from Targor's mouth as he looks down to find the blade of Logosh's sword protruding from his chest, driven clean through him from behind. Logosh puts his foot to Targor's back and yanks the bloody sword free. Targor slumps to his knees and topples forward like a felled oak, hitting the ground with an almighty crash. Logosh stands over the mortally wounded Targor as the orc rolls over onto his back, gasping, defeated, and from somewhere at the back of the crowd comes the cry, "Finish him!" Another crowd member picks up the cry. It quickly spreads to a chant among the entire audience, "Finish him! Finish him!" In every other movie, this is the moment where the heroic gladiator throws down his sword in defiance, nobly refusing to take the beaten man's life. But this is not that movie. Without hesitation, Logosh chops off Targor's head with an executioner's swing of his sword. On an adrenaline-fueled high, he raises his fists aloft and emits a blood-curdling orcish war cry that echoes to the far reaches of the arena. "Loktar Ogar!" Victory or death. The crowd erupts in cheers and applause. In the Alliance box, Stormpike turns to Proudmoore.
"All right, I'm impressed. So now what?"
"We meet him." Okay. Jumps us to the interior of the Gurbashi arena, a gladiator holding pen. Dark, lit only by sputtering torchlight, dank stone walls, straw strewn across the floor, a dungeon-like feel. Proudmoore, Stormpike, and a callow young Alliance aide look on as Logosh is brought in by slave handlers, his skin caked with dirt and dried blood. He does not resist as the handlers clap his wrists in manacles chained to the wall. "Leave us."
"He's dangerous."
"We'll be fine." The handlers file out the door. We don't fully see Logosh in his dark corner where he's shackled, just the sound of his slow metered breathing from the shadows. Logosh does not acknowledge the presence of his visitors. He turns his back on them, takes a wet cloth from a nearby washbowl, and begins to wash off the blood and dirt. "Introduce us." The aide clears his throat and speaks in stilted Orcish.
"Thromka, Gorek Lashkaga."
Logosh cuts him off, speaking in subtitled Orcish. "Your Orcish is terrible, boy." Logosh steps out of the shadows as he cleans the war paint from his face. As we get our first good look at him, strikingly handsome, piercing eyes, two crisscross stars etched across his face. Difficult to tell his age, late 30s? If you're going to speak it that poorly, you'll have to come closer so I can hear you. The aide nervously takes a step forward. Logosh moves closer, his chains scraping the floor behind him. He looks the aide up and down, sensing his fear, and lurches forward, chains pulling taut as he barks at the aide like a wild dog. The startled aide stumbles backward and falls on his backside. Logosh laughs, amused. Stormpike draws a flintlock pistol from his belt, cocks it.
"Back in your corner, laddie."
Logosh stares Stormpike down, unafraid, then steps back. Proudmoore motions to Stormpike to lower the pistol. Logosh turns to Proudmoore and speaks in perfect English. "Who are you?" Proudmoore, taken by surprise. "We were told that you only speak Orcish. I know your language, but in Kalimdor I have little use for it." Proudmoore motions to the Alliance aide to leave. He bows and exits, happy to be out of Logosh's company. "I'm Admiral Proudmoore of the Alliance. This is Colonel Stormpike. I come here in the name of the king himself to offer..." "The king of what?" The King of Stormwind. What else? Never heard of it. A bowl of food is dumped through a slot near the foot of the door. Some vile, discolored gruel. Proudmoore watches in fascination as Logosh grabs it and wolfs it down hungrily, eating messily with his hands like an animal. So then the stories are true. You really were raised by orcs. I've lived among them for as long as I can remember. What happened to your family? I have no memory of my family. My earliest memory is of an orcish trainer putting a wooden sword in my hand and teaching me to fight. But I commend him. That was an impressive display out there. You fight like no warrior I've ever seen. Swift and calculating like a human, powerful and merciless like an orc. The best of both worlds. I'm not a soldier. If this king of yours wants me to fight in a war, on the contrary, we were hoping you might help us prevent one. What do you know of the orcish human wars? I'm a gladiator. The world I know begins and ends in the arena. Well, I'm sure you don't need any education in orcish savagery. In the first war, they invaded our lands and burned our cities to the ground. Nearly destroyed all of humankind, but we survived. In the second war, we drove the bastards back. Those we didn't kill or take prisoner fled back across the sea to Kalimdor. Since then, there's been peace, or what passes for it. Now the orcs are rising once again, regrouping under the banner of a new warlord named Vandar. So this is like sometime before the end of Warcraft 3, since Proudmoore's alive.
They call him Thrall, sir.
A brief glimmer of recognition from Logosh. You know of him? I've heard the name. Under his rule, the orcs are aggressively expanding their territory. Last week, a patrol from our outpost in Theramore was hit by one of their raiding parties. 6 of our men butchered like animals. Our ambassador there has been trying to establish diplomatic contact. Naturally, the Alliance Council is skeptical, given our history. Got to sail to Kalimdor to evaluate the situation, and if possible, forestall an escalation that could lead to another war. I'd like you to come with us. Why? Frankly, the orcs are still largely a mystery to us. We know very little of them other than as a primitive, warlike culture, but you've lived among them. You know how they operate, how they think. You could be very useful to us as an advisor. The affairs of nations are no concern of mine. And if humans were foolish enough to settle on orcish lands, they deserve everything they have coming to them. I find it interesting that you speak about humans in the third person, like you don't consider yourself one of them. First rule of survival in the arena, protect your own ass first. My loyalty is to myself, not to any race, nor any flag. So you won't help us? Sometimes back home I hear the slave owners discussing politics. It's never sounded appealing to me. At least in the arena I know who my enemies are. What about freedom? Might that sound appealing to you? Logosh reacts. It's not a word he hears often. The Alliance has authorized me to buy you out of bondage. Serve your king faithfully on this mission, and when it is done, we will sign papers granting you free passage throughout the Eastern Kingdoms. Sorry for the dogs, guys. No more living among the orcs. You'll be human again. Logosh turns away, darkening a little. I don't have what it means to be human. I never have. I'm offering you the chance to find out, if you want it. Logosh turns back, considering it thoughtfully. Krasik will never allow it. Who's Krasik? My owner. Okay. So now we switch scenes to the next day. And I think this is probably a good stopping point for us. One, the dogs are getting a little antsy, but also my plan was to try to do about 10% per, and that's about where we're at today. So pretty good, if I don't say so myself. Pretty cool so far, actually. This is interesting. It's been such a long time that since I've seen this movie. I don't remember this at all. I'm very interested in watching the novelization, to reading the novelization to see how it compares. And at some point in this process, after I read the script for sure, maybe after I read the novel, I'm going to watch the movie again too. Just kind of give my thoughts and see how it vibes out for me. All right, so we're staying here at page 14. Maybe I'm just going to leave it up since I'll be visiting it from time to time. Thank you everybody so much for watching, listening, and tuning in. I'm going to do another... tonight's going to be a Patreon episode, but I will do another episode of this tomorrow. If nothing else, this will probably be my only one tomorrow, but I'll do a little bit more of the script tomorrow. This one's all done. Thank you, everybody. Like, subscribe, keep joining in, keep getting those numbers climbing. You all rock for doing that. And we got this episode in the pipe 5x5.